Joining us on the line right now, it is Bills defensive tackle Harrison Phillips, who is up for probably the most respected award in the entire NFL, the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. And Harrison, I didn't even realize this. You're also up for the Salute to Service award, which I get. Is that also being awarded this weekend? I think it is, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
So that's awesome, man. Congratulations.
A huge honor to be down here and represent the Bills. You know, like I mentioned when I first got my nomination, ours is really unique because we have so many deserving guys in our locker room. I mean, it's incredible. And so to be the kind of catalyst that gets to come down here and represent our organization in Western New York is a huge blessing.
And I was just going to say, like, you're like the Meryl Streep down there. You're like nominated for a bunch of different categories here. I mean, you're doubling up, man. It's like, that's pretty cool. Because I don't know if I should have looked it up, but I didn't have the time to do it. Because I'm curious how many of the guys, up for Walter Payton Man of the Year are also up for, like, Salute to Service. I bet that the number is very few. I bet there's probably only a handful of guys that are double fisting like you are. So good on you, man, for all your efforts. Appreciate that. The Playmakers, obviously, is your great cause, your foundation. And I think the thing that I like the best about how you run that is very often you don't just go and speak to kids or, counsel kids or, kind of mentor kids. You mobilize kids to help kids. So maybe just talk about that aim, because I think it's a very unique way to run a foundation, because you're almost helping the next generation help themselves.
Yeah, correct. And you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's been a blessing to work with the kids that we do and been so fortunate to find so many great kids in Western New York. But yeah, we try to, just inspire these kids. We work primarily with kids with developmental differences and special needs, but we also like to pair them the same way that Special Olympics does in unified sports with at-risk kids in the inner city of Buffalo. So there's a unique dynamic already there. You have, people from the inner city working with kids with special needs, and there's a really cool relationship that forms there. But then also there's such a negative perception that kids with special needs are, dependent and they need help. And that's not the case. We have some unbelievable kids who are so independent that they can not only serve themselves, but they can serve their community and give back. And so that's the message that I'm trying to teach them. And more than often, they are willingly and jumping with joy to try to help the next person in line. It's super inspiring to see.
And what are your plans for the future? I mean, after this, you get a little bit more notoriety. How can you parlay this into helping the cause here in Buffalo? And what can Bills fans do to jump on board with you?
Yeah, for the immediate plans, obviously we got to figure out this virus stuff. But we have some plans for working at the Hub, the Wesleyan Church here, right in Hamburg, to do an event in March. I'm going to do another drive-in up at the Transit Drive-In like I did during the season in April. My big football camp that we're hoping to have 400 kids at will be at our indoor facility in June. Again, all of this is assuming that we're allowed to do this socially distanced and masks
indoor
and
facility?
Things like that.
Which indoor facility?
What's that?
Which indoor?
The Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, the field house.
All right, the field house.
Yeah, sorry, in our field house. And so that's some of the stuff that's happening. Obviously in Buffalo, we'll be working with the police department, the fire department, local animal rescues. I think at my camp this year, I want to have a bunch of dogs there that are rescue dogs. And if any of our Playmaker kids and families want one, I'll pay the adoption fee so that they can have, an animal. Just a bunch of stuff. But I think what maybe separates me from some of the other competition here for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. And again, it's already a blessing just to receive the honor, but it's not just like a one big thing I did. It wasn't a $1 million donation to a children's hospital or a big event that raised $500,000. I like to say that my heart isn't biased, and there's so many causes that I care about. Any good story that I hear about, I want to give to. If that's O'Shea's Children's Hospital, if that's working with the VA for the veterans, spearheading the charge to get $500,000 for the Wi-Fi for the inner city schools. I have a lot of love to give, and I'm just super thankful for the community that we have up there. As you guys know, it is truly special.
And then and you mentioned the drive-in event that you did up at the Transit Drive-In, which, you want to talk about a challenge. It was as big a challenge in playing football this year, but then you think about all these guys around the league like yourself who are trying to organize community-type events, to to raise money for your foundation or for whatever cause you represent. And, I mean, you want to talk about having to get creative. You guys had to do it, like, to the umpteenth degree. So maybe walk me through the committee meetings that you had to kind of do on Zoom, obviously, because you're restricted. You can't even be at your own events because of the protocols you have to follow at One Bills Drive. Maybe just walk us through how much more challenging it was for you and your respective foundation committee to come up with answers and solutions to still do the kind of work you want to do.
Yeah, the first thing I would say is a lot more people have my phone number now than I thought would, because I wanted to FaceTime this kid or this family for the holidays or these kids who were at my camp. So a lot of people have my number. I get a couple random calls here and there from playmakers, friends at school or whatever it is. But yeah, you had to get creative. And when the drive-in thing I did, we had that plan that I was going to be there. And then the 2 days before my event is when the thing happened with the Raiders, and they came out and said no more community things.
Enhanced protocols, right?
Yeah, and so we had to scramble last minute, but obviously technology makes this so amazing. I'm in Tampa, Florida, and we're doing this interview right here, so that's been a blessing for us. But yeah, you had to get creative. You had to find ways. Even for the holiday season, I wanted to do my big toy drive in person, but instead we had to, I myself had to go, purchase presents for my playmaker kids and had another person have to go drop them off at their door. So I wasn't able to be there to see them and meet and had to be on Zoom on a phone, and you had to get creative. But, we made it work, and in an environment when unfortunately a lot of nonprofits and 501c3s, had to collapse or folded in. Right. It's so sad to say they just didn't have the funds to operate. This is a year that my organization actually grew, and the money that I'll receive from this Walter Payton Man of the Year nomination is going to come right back in Western New York and provide us, so many things that we could do. I would love if the MVP, the Playmaker Award at my camp, I'd love if I could bring him and his family to the Super Bowl next year with some of the funds that have come from this. And so the more money you bring in, the more donations I get from Western New York, the more unbelievable cool things that we can do. And it's a blessing to be in this position.
Well, we certainly congratulate you on all that's going on. We'll be watching tonight to see if you indeed can win the national honor.
I think it's Saturday.
Saturday, yeah. Saturday.
Yeah.
And once again, we appreciate it. And Bills Mafia, love you. I'm going to talk to you about the season. It was a phenomenal year for us to watch. Usually, there'd be one or two times where you'd come in and sit with us in studio. And even us, even us being part of the Bills thing, we couldn't have any players on as guests or anything. We were all separated.
Plexiglass between us right now.
Right. So talk to us a little bit about what you guys, in the locker room, when you guys are sitting there talking about how difficult and how different it is, you're relating it to the rookies, and they must know how odd it was as well. And in the midst of all that, you guys had a fantastic season. What was the vibe what was the vibe like in the locker room towards the end of this season as you were headed deep into the playoffs?
Yeah, well, the whole on a mission thing, it truly was the case. I mean, we really had one goal in mind, and that was to compete to win the Super Bowl. And so everyone's got a saltiness to them that we're not all down here as a team right now. But I think one of the things that hurt the most, people probably don't think about, is it was so hard being, you guys know, when you're part of a winning team, that's when it's the most fun to be with the guys and be hanging out and going to, have dinner together as a unit, or the defense or the offense or rookie dinners and all that stuff. And unfortunately, in a year that we had our best season in a long time, we couldn't even see one person outside of the building. And that was so hard because, you're at practice, you have a big win, and hey, what are we going to do after the game? Oh, I'm going to go home and watch the Sunday night game by myself. That was a really difficult part. It was challenging. And so I commend all of our teammates and the people that we have in the building, because we were a close group with a lot of new faces, a lot of young faces, and we still found, our team identity and had team love for one another without being able to have those fun moments outside the building. So those were some of the unique challenges that we had to come over this year. And hopefully this is only going to make us even stronger and tougher as a team.
I know that, your season was an exercise in getting back to 100%, or what you felt was, 100% of your capabilities after, the knee surgeries you underwent in the offseason. So when did you get to a point this season where you said, you know what, I really start to feel like myself again? I know this wasn't the first time you've been through a rehab like this because you did this in college also, but was there a game or a week where you said, you know what, I'm finally feeling like myself again?
You know, the first time we played the Patriots, I think, was the first time that I was in there and anchoring on hard double team, you know, that kind of 21 personnel, 12 personnel, fullbacks in the game, that hard pounding. That was kind of the first time I really felt better. And I just kind of come off of the period where I had some downtime and didn't play in a couple games. And, you know, as unfortunate as that was and devastating to have that happen, it was probably needed in terms of my body. I had been going a full year of rehab. You know, I didn't get a single weekend off from all the way back to January. And so, you know, took those time off and then back for the Patriots game. I felt like I was really coming to myself. And then, you know, down the stretch there, you're just further removed from the injury. And so I'm extremely optimistic about next season. You know, I got to recover still from this year. There's still bumps and bruises and little things that I'm still feeling in my body right now. But, you know, football season's a long way away. And when I get back to there, I believe I'll have the doctor's blessings to take off the knee braces, which are also a big hindrance in your athletic ability. And so really hoping that I can, you know, prove to everybody on our team and in our staff that I can be a major contributor to us, just like I did down there in the stretch of the playoffs.
The last one from me, Harrison, I know it's probably very early in this process, but how optimistic or what information have you heard inside your circles about how much maybe back to normal this offseason might be, not just for you and your injury and your rehab and how different it was going to be from last year, but also about the league-wide. How deep does this go with more and more protocols and being socially distant and all that? What are you guys looking forward to?
Yeah, well, you know, our president of the union came out with a pretty big statement a little over a month ago that said, hey, let's look at this year. We proved a lot. There was obviously some injury things that we still need to look at and get the data from. But we had high-scoring football games, exciting football games. We had rookies make the Pro Bowl, first-time head coaches have success, the least amount of penalties in football, least amount of missed tackles when you compare it to other years, which are huge things on coaches' radar, saying if we don't have OTAs, our missed tackles, our fundamentals. Well, the numbers show that actually wasn't the case. And so our president of our union came out and said, we need to reevaluate what the offseason looks like altogether. We had 0 OTAs in person this last year, and we had a heck of a football season all around. Just, you know, the NFL league-wide proved that they can kind of do this model. So not only will I think the offseason look different because we still are going to obviously have to have some COVID protocols. You know, the world isn't completely going to be open in mid-April, but also, you know, there's raised questions of how necessary are the full OTA period? Could there be a 4-week period that people come back for and it's shortened? Or can we do this virtual model where people are proving that they're working out and doing the OTA meetings from a different location? So these are a lot of things that the NFL and the NFLPA are going to go back. This would have to be an amendment to the CBA, like we did last year when this stuff was at the forefront. Yeah. So those are conversations that are going to be had. And I do think that this offseason is not going to look like a 2018 offseason. I think it's going to be a hybrid between nothing at all and what a normal one would look like. So hopefully that benefits not only the teams, but also the players' health and safety.
All right, Harrison, listen, thanks very much for the time. We'll be watching on Saturday, so good luck. We hope your name's the one that's in the envelope they open up, because we know that means good things not only for you but for all of your community efforts, because you said a lot of that money's coming right back to Western New York. And if you ever have something you want to pump up and get the word out on, we're on radio and TV here in not only Buffalo but Rochester. We're more than happy to get the word out for you, so don't hesitate to ring us up. We'll be happy to promote anything you got coming on in the future here, all right?
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, what do we say next year? This time we're all down in LA. I think Super Bowl. So yeah, let's try to do that.
Oh, I like
awesome.
that.
Thanks,
I like
Harrison.
the sound of that.
Congratulations
Good luck on
again.
Saturday.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right. That's Harrison Phillips, Bills defensive tackle, joining us here on One Bills Live.